What's going on, everybody? Back for another fly tying tutorial. Today I'm going to be tying up a fly that I recently came across from one of my favorite couple dudes to watch on YouTube to get some new ideas for some patterns. And also they run a killer online fly shop. It's the guys at FlyFishFood.com. Today I'm going to be tying up their Moodah Poodah pattern. The name behind it is actually a pretty funny story. If you check out their website, they kind of go into it a little bit. But it's a fly that's kind of geared to imitate, a lot of different bugs, but today I'm going to be tying up the one that can imitate beetles, ants, more of your terrestrial type patterns for the summer months coming up here. So let's get into it. In the vise I have a Daiichi 1160 clink hammer hook in a size 12. And the first thing I'm going to do is kind of take it from its normal position in the vise and just rotate it downwards a little bit. It just makes it easier to start it here, to get the thread and everything attached. So I have some UTC 70 thread in black. I'm going to start that about 1/3 of the way back from the eye of the hook. And take the thread back down into the bend. Alright, and then for a ribbing material, we're going to use some crystal flash in a pearl color. I'm going to get a piece of that. Just tie that in at the back of the hook. Okay, now we're going to dub a body. In this case, the body color is going to be a black, like I said, to imitate your ants and your beetles. They do throw a hot spot in to the butt section of this fly. You can really use any bright color you want. I'm going to stick with the orange here, which is what the original recipe, I guess, calls for. I think it looks particularly good on the black version. So you just need a little bit here, and we're going to take it back to the end. And there we go, just tie in a little hot spot. Now we're going to get some black ice dub. That was orange ice dub there for the hot spot. And we're just going to dub this pretty tightly onto the thread here. I add a little bit at a time, and I find it easier to, instead of having to take some off at the end. You're going to want to take this body up to the point that you started your thread, so about 1/3 of the way back the hook shank from the eye. Alright, now once you have your body dubbed, you're going to take this pearl crystal flash and just rib it up the length of the dubbing. And then tie it off. and cut off the excess. All right, now at this point we're ready to tie in a wing. In this case I'm going to be using some Nature's Spirit Select Cow Elk in black to match the body color. Cut off a decent sized clump of that, throw it into the hair stacker. Give it a few taps. Now you want to align the tips of these hairs with the very back edge of the hook. So I'm going to measure them out there, switch hands, just make a couple loose. And then this is a good trick that I learned from the guys at FlyFishFood when you're working with elk hair. So you're going to take some of these butts, probably like a third of them or so, pull them back, make a couple more wraps, take another clump, another few wraps, and then just work your way up to the front. And what you're doing there is essentially tying the hair in 3 different spots, which will keep it from kind of rotating around the hook shank on you. Then I'm going to separate these butts out and snip them off. Alright, and then you're just going to wrap over these butts of this hair. It doesn't have to be pretty, it's going to be covered up by the foam. Next you're going to have a foam kind of body and overwing. I'm using Rainey's Crosslink black foam in a 2mm size. And I pre-cut a strip here, and I also cut a V into the one end that is going to sit about even with the tips of this hair. So in terms of size, I mean the foam you want about as wide as the hook gap, and then lengthwise you're going to want it about 2 times the length of the front straight portion of this hook. So you're going to line it up. That's about 1. And then there's about 2. So I kind of make an indent with my fingernails and cut off the extra. And then what I'll also do here is I'll quickly pass this V through a lighter and kind of press down on it with my fingers. And what that does is it just, you can kind of see it here, maybe it creates like a nice taper to the end of the foam. I think it just makes it look better. So once you have that, you're going to line this V up about even, maybe a little bit shorter with the tips of that hair, and then take and indent the front edge with the eye of the hook. Okay, and then once you have that indentation, just take a pair of scissors and ream a hole through the center of that foam, and then slide the foam over the eye of the hook. Okay, and now I'm going to turn this. This just makes it a little easier to work with. Okay, so once I have that pinched off there, just make a couple wraps to kind of get it started where you want it. Okay, and then once you have it started, I'll rotate it back up and kind of fixate it so it sits on top of the hook and kind of centers up with the elk hair. Alright, and just use my fingers and stabilize it and make another few wraps just to really lock it down. Alright, and then next step is to add some legs. So here we're going to be using some grizzly barred rubber legs, medium sized, and the neon orange color. Okay, and then I'm going to tie both of these on the same side of the hook with a couple loose wraps, and then slide one of these set of legs over to that side. You can kind of seat them a little better, get them where you want them. Now the next step is to add a parachute. So here I have some hairline parapost material in a fluorescent orange color. And just tie this right on top of the shank. Couple loose wraps at first, and then lock it down with some tighter wraps. Alright, and then the front edge I'm just going to snip off pretty close here to the tie-in point. And then the back side, just going to lightly pull it back, cut it about even with the foam. Okay, and then the next step here is I'm just going to trim these legs a little bit. And then lastly, I'm going to whip finish. And so you're not tying these legs down. Just kind of keep your thread in between both sets of legs. Just do like a 3 or 4 finish whip finish. And then to really finish it up and make it bulletproof, I will add some UV clear fly finish and flow to the bottom side. Just dab some on there. Hit it with the UV light. And there you go. That's the Moodah Poodah pattern from the guys at FlyFishFood. I have fished this a couple times in the past few weeks. I mean, it works. It imitates, like I said, the beetles, the ants, which, you know, in the East Coast, the summer months here, that's, you know, you get some pretty ferocious strikes from trout than when you're kind of skating this across the top of the water. So tie one up, give it a try, and let me know how it works. Thanks.